Two Dreamers, written by SiaCatGirl. When it comes to prisons, barred windows and barbed wires can be considered classics of the genre, perfect for creating an oppressive, there is no escape atmosphere, of which they would gleefully remind you day in and day out. Still, there was indeed a bright side to them. A bright, sunny side that flowed merrily into the rooms with complete disregard to the iron poles. And if one could take a careful look through the window patches free of the grating, they would clearly see everything that took place on the territory within the giant wall that circled the academy, akin to an impenetrable fortress. For example, how vividly did the dark metal armor stand out against the bright green grass? Such a contrast was bound to attract attention to itself, and certainly Kaede's line of sight couldn't let it pass by. Not even bothering to question the sudden bout of curiosity within her, she walked closer until she stopped inches away from a mop of snow-white hair that stood out in all directions, not unlike the grass blades growing around it. Light blue eyes, the mechanical nature of which could only be revealed upon closer inspection, were darted upwards to the fluffy clouds that slovenly made their way through the endless azures of the sky.
What are you doing, Kivo?
The robot was not all that startled by her appearance.
Watching the clouds. I have read that it was interesting.
So, how is it?
As of now, I fail to see the appeal,
he said honestly, then paused for a bit and added,
although it is a nice change of perspective.
And the mere act of just looking at the steam puffs lazily flying off somewhere was a sight for sore eyes. From what Kibo was able to understand, some enjoy finding shapes in them, such as humans or animals. So far, they only looked like big cotton balls to him. However, there was one that made him think of either a cut-up curtain or a torn lab coat piece.
Oh, wow! It really does feel different.
To the robot, it felt like someone had just shouted right into his ear. But no. It was simply that Kaede lay down on the grass next to him. Its blades lightly tickled her face and legs. To be honest, it never even occurred to him that the pianist would stay. Nonetheless, she looked quite pleased.
Shame this cage ruins the view, though.
Okay, not quite. Still a long way to go before he's able to properly read the mood of others. Nonetheless, the girl had a point. The beauty of the blue sky somehow fades a bit when it's all cut up into stripes. What's worse, even though the huge bars seemingly disappeared into the heights, they were still there, observing with haughty indifference the talented birds trapped down below. They almost reeked of void. Kibo felt it rising again, that crushing feeling akin to his torso being compacted into a cube from the inside. He remembered his creator, the professor, whom he treated like a father. Recalled the old laboratory, the sounds of fingers typing away on a keyboard. The pressure in his chest grew stronger. All of them here were cut off from the outside world. Who knew what was happening behind the wall at this?
You miss him?
Again, like a megaphone turned to the max right above him. Must have got... what do they call it? Got lost in thought? Seems like it. The robot turned his head to the girl with a surprised expression. There was not a hint of annoyance at the response in her eyes.
Professor Itabashi.
Right, he had told her before.
Do you miss him?
Miss. To miss. Ah, that must be it. To feel the absence of someone or something, sometimes with regret. Fits the description just fine. Kibo nodded a couple times in response. So that's what it's like, to miss someone. As of now, alas, The robot's new feelings and emotions came along with their dictionary definitions, especially when it was about communication. Don't get it wrong, he was capable of intuitively identifying them on his own, such as, for example, joy, sadness, anger. In theory, he had no problems with it. In theory. In practice, however, it all turned into one tough hell of a language barrier. Only here, on top of the horrific number of ambiguous wording used on a daily basis, they were also intonations and the ability to tell apart people's expressions.
Listen, Kibo.
Now it felt more like a normal conversation. The guy decided not to turn, just simply shift his sight and ask what it was.
Have you got a dream?
A dream?
He pondered the word for a few seconds.
Why do you ask?
Just want to know.
Mechanical eyes started upwards once more.
Well, to find out who is behind us being trapped here. Who is controlling Monokuma? Who is making us kill each other and for what purpose? Although, I think that we all have it. And you do too.
You're right, but that's not exactly what I meant.
Well, that sounds interesting.
Then, what do you mean?
When we all get out of here, what will you do then?
Not if, when. If there was something about Kaede you can always count on, it was definitely a positive disposition.
Personally, I am thinking of writing a symphony about all of us and everything we went through here. Oh, I've just got so many ideas now. And you?
I would rather not.
The robot immediately glanced away from her.
Come on, don't be shy. I won't laugh, I promise.
Still not easy. Who'd be interested in such a silly dream? On the other hand, if it's Kaede, then it's safe to tell her.
All right. I dream of riding a train.
A train?
Yes, a high-speed one, for example. Be able to gaze at the city from a train window, watch it pass by in front of me, or see what it looks like at night, or with trees in bloom.
The girl could almost envision this in front of her. Packed subways, bright neon signs, sakuras dressed in pretty pink petals. Only they weren't anything special to her. Well, except for the blooming trees, of course. For any city dweller, such things were simply taken for granted. Yet, at the same time, there was someone who could be amazed at something as mundane as a train ride. Maybe that was one of the robot's many traits that endeared him to her. That no matter how much he would try to act serious or reserved, his curiosity about everything around him was just impossible to ignore.
How cute.
Suddenly, she was struck with an idea.
Hey, how about trying yourself in creativity then? Drawing, perhaps?
The robot's expression darkened right away.
I am not so sure about it.
Why?
People will not take it seriously. To them, robots are incapable of any kind of creative work. They will simply not believe it. And I am just a machine in their eyes. A heartless hunk of metal.
Don't say that!
Now that was a reaction Kibo did not expect. On a reflective turn, his artificial blue irises met the violet ones, and they seemed to be filled with worry for him.
Don't berate yourself like this, please! You aren't just a robot, Kibo. You're a classmate, our friend. Your life matters just as much as anyone else's.
Without even realizing, she grabbed his hand.
So what if you've got wires instead of veins? That doesn't make you any less real, less alive than any of us. Let them say whatever they think behind that wall. You're important to me just the way you are.
Kaede.
Also,
She was absent-mindedly caressing his palm with a thumb.
if you ask me, This heartless hunk of metal has a soul much purer and kinder than some of the humans I happen to know.
Kiba was more than a little embarrassed at these words, but he was also grateful to her. Grateful that now he has people in his life who value him and whom he values as well. Who doesn't give a damn what his insides are made of, be it bolts, bones, hell, even leaves.
Thank you.
This robot really should smile more. Smiling back, the pianist gazed up at the clouds again. Say what you want, but just lying like this and staring at the sky could actually be interesting. And it was a great way to relax. So much, in fact, that neither of them noticed their fingers intertwining. Or not, as Kibo eventually did realize that a warm palm was pressing against his metallic hand.
Kaede!
That was more than enough to make the girl glance at their intertwined hands. In a matter of seconds, her cheeks blushed about 10 shades brighter, and her purple eyes were sheepishly averted somewhere to the side. But she didn't let go. The touch from the fingertips were still easily traceable on the metal surface. The robot felt something warming up within him. That wasn't the first time he's experienced it, but he couldn't fully grasp what exactly it meant. It positively wasn't coming from his heating system, yet it wasn't so hot as to activate the cooling process. And this warmth also emanated a soft sense of serenity? Yeah, that's the word. Serenity. And even the cage above them didn't seem as threatening anymore. And my $10 patrons are Chaotic Mist and 212th Trooper. Thank you so much for donating $10 a month to my Patreon. Hey everyone, Agent Fluffy here, and thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to my channel. If you want to support me even more, feel free to support my Patreon. The links are right here.